Welcome to Social Media Trainwrecks, the Tuesday show where we roll up on the week's biggest brand disaster and pick through the wreckage. I'm Giovanni Gallucci, and this week, Alexis Parker's riding shotgun. We find the dumb decision, the post that poured gas on the fire, and the one move that would have saved them. Alexis, what are we rubbernecking at?
Gio, this one's got the biggest band on the planet and a robot. BTS lit up the Las Vegas Sphere with an AI ad for Google Gemini, and their own fans started a hashtag to boycott it.
Now that's a Tuesday. The most beloved act in the world, and the crowd that had run through a wall for them is suddenly holding up a stop sign. Pull us up to the crash site, because I've got a feeling the robot isn't even the wreck.
So here's the wreck. Starting August 2nd, there's a 60-second film running on the Sphere in Vegas. BTS, Korean landmarks, their new Arirang release, all stitched together with Google's AI assistant, Gemini.
Okay, huge stage, huge act, a tech giant paying for the biggest screen on Earth. Where's the crash?
August 6th, it goes wide online, and ARMY, the fan base, doesn't clap. They start a hashtag. #ArmyAgainstAI.
Their own people, not a rival fandom, not some troll farm, the most loyal audience in music history turning around and saying, no thanks.
Right. So what turns a splashy ad into a 5-alarm fire?
It's who's in the ad and what the ad is made of. This is AI-generated content built on the artists' faces and their symbols, promoting a company those same fans have been taught to be afraid of.
Taught to be afraid of? By who?
By the artist's own company. And that's the part that makes this a real wreck, Alexis. BTS's label, HYBE, spent this year out front fighting AI deepfakes of their idols, working with Korean police, standing up tools for fans to report fake, synthetic content, telling everybody, we'll protect these artists from exactly this kind of thing.
So the company that said, we'll protect them from AI, put them in an AI ad.
That's the bonehead move, and it's the whole lesson. You can't spend a year telling your community that AI is the threat to the people they love, then take a check to make those same people the face of AI. You wrote the outrage yourself. The fans just read it back to you.
And these aren't casual fans. What's the mood out there?
Heartbroken mostly. Go read the posts. People saying, I love them. I'll always love them. I just can't share this one. That's not hate. That's a fan holding a line.
Give me one that's stuck with you.
One said promoting AI in 2026, knowing what it does to the environment, is embarrassing. Another said, supporting BTS doesn't mean endorsing every company bolted to their name. That second one's the one that should scare the marketing team.
Why that one? It sounds almost gentle.
It's the most dangerous kind of criticism there is. When your biggest fans start giving each other permission to sit one out, that's not a bad day. That's a crack in the foundation. You spent a decade telling them their loyalty means something, and now they're using that loyalty to walk away quietly instead of loud.
And the deepfake fear? That's not abstract for this crowd.
Not even a little. K-pop fans have spent a couple years now watching AI tools spit out fake, synthetic clips of their idols. Faces reprocessed, voices cloned, stuff the artist never said or did. So when a real AI campaign shows up using the artist's own faces, even a consented one, the fan can't tell at a glance where the human ends and the machine begins.
And that ambiguity is the wound.
That's the wound, and the ad walked right into it. When your audience already can't trust their own eyes, the last thing you do is blur the line on purpose and sell it back to them.
So the mistake wasn't the technology itself.
The mistake was picking a partner that steps on everything you told your people you stood for. Somebody in that building was measuring the size of the check and the size of the screen. Nobody was measuring the size of the promise they were about to break.
Okay, so the ad's out, the fans are hurting. What did BTS and HYBE actually do about it?
As best anyone can tell, nothing. No statement addressing the AI concern. No context. No, here's why we did this. No, here's what's real footage and what isn't. Just the ad, glowing on the sphere, while the feed fills up with disappointed fans.
And how do you grade silence, Gio?
Depends on the storm. Sometimes silence is the right call.
When's it right?
When it's manufactured outrage. A bad faith mob. People looking for a reason to be mad, who were never going to buy from you anyway. You don't feed that. You let it burn itself out.
But this isn't that.
This is the opposite of that. This is your best customers in good faith telling you they feel betrayed. When the people who love you most raise their hand, silence doesn't read as calm. It reads as, "We don't care what you think."
So this is the wrong storm to go quiet on.
It's the exact wrong one. And the fix that's missing is so simple it hurts. Nobody drew the line between the two stories.
Which two stories?
Story 1. HYBE fights deepfakes to protect the artists from theft. Story 2. The artist said yes to a real consented campaign with a real company. Those can both be true at the same time. Protecting someone from getting robbed isn't the same as them choosing a partner.
But somebody has to say that out loud.
Somebody has to say it out loud, fast, in plain language, from a name people trust. The fans handed them the question on a silver platter. How's this different from the deepfakes you told us to fear? That's a layup of an answer. The silence let the worst version of the story set like concrete.
Is there a clock on that? How fast is fast?
The first day. While it's still a conversation and not a verdict, every hour you let a good faith audience stew, they write your explanation for you, and it's always meaner than the one you'd have written yourself.
So even a small note would have moved the needle.
A short human one, not a legal wall, just, "We hear you, here's what this is, here's what it isn't, here's the line we'll never cross with these artists." That's a paragraph. It costs you nothing, and it buys back the benefit of the doubt.
Is there a risk in saying too much, though?
Sure, over-lawyer it and you sound guilty. Over-explain it and you look rattled. The trick is you answer the one question everybody's actually asking, and then you stop. You don't stand up and defend AI as a concept. That's not your fight, and you'll lose it. You defend the artists and the consent. Narrow, calm, done.
So what's your grade?
They took a hard situation and let it harden. That's an incomplete, trending toward failing. And the maddening part is the passing grade was one honest paragraph away.
All right, get us to the fix. What stops this before it ever hits the sphere?
One meeting. Before you sign a partnership, you run what I'd call a contradiction audit.
Walk me through it.
You put the deal on one side of the table and every public promise you've made on the other side. If the deal steps on the promise, you've got two choices: kill the deal or rewrite the promise out loud before you announce. What you don't do is let your own audience be the ones to notice the gap.
So somebody in the room asks, does this fight something we already said?
That's the whole question. And for a fan base this intense, you add a second one. What does our community value, not what do we value?
What's the difference?
BTS fans built a piece of their identity around protecting these guys. So you can't run a campaign that makes the artists look like the exact thing the fans were protecting them from. You read the room you're posting into, not the room you're standing in.
A lot of brands assume their audience wants whatever's newest.
And that's how they end up on this show. New isn't the enemy. BTS has always been early on tech. Live streams, online concerts, the biggest digital fandom ever built. These fans aren't anti-progress.
So what are they?
Anti-betrayal. Chase new all you want. Just don't chase it by stepping on the one thing you swore you'd guard. The fan base will follow you almost anywhere, right up until the day you make them choose between loving the artist and keeping their own principles. That's the day you lose.
And if you decide the deal's still worth doing?
Then you announce it with the answer already attached. You don't drop the ad and wait to get asked. You lead with the hard question yourself.
Meaning what in practice?
You say it right there. Yes, this uses AI. Here's exactly how. Here's what the artists agreed to. Here's what we'd never allow. Transparency isn't a press release you issue after the fire. It's the thing you put in the ad's own front pocket so the fire never catches.
So that's the storm-proofing takeaway.
Here's the takeaway for anybody listening who's never streamed a BTS song in their life. Your community's trust is your single biggest asset, and it has a shape. It stands for specific things.
So how do you protect the shape?
Before you take any partnership, any sponsorship, any big swing, you hold it up against what your people believe you believe. If there's daylight between the two, you close it in your own voice, on day one, before somebody closes it for you in theirs.
And you decide who holds that line before the moment shows up.
You name the person who can say, wait on any deal, no matter how big the check. Because the check is always big enough to make smart people stop asking the obvious question.
So the seat matters more than the plan.
Stormproofing isn't a crisis document you pull out after the crash. It's one voice in the room whose whole job is to guard the promise. Fill that seat before you need it, not after. BTS didn't have anybody in that chair, and 7 of the most loyal fans on Earth noticed before the brand did.
That's the episode right there.
Before we roll out, one thing for the operators listening. If you're a food or beverage brand with a real product and a following that just sits there, that likes a post and never lifts a finger when you actually need them, that's a community problem, and it's fixable. That's the work I do. I turn a flat audience into a fan base that shows up. I built Topo Chico's organic social from launch through the Coca-Cola era doing exactly that. If you want a crowd that defends you before you ever have to defend yourself, find me at gallucci.net or DM at galluccinet on Instagram or LinkedIn.
And that's Social Media Trainwrecks for this week. I'm Alexis Parker.
I'm Giovanni Gallucci. Keep your hands where I can see them and your brand promise where your customers can see it. We'll catch you next Tuesday.